Welcome back, Stampers. We're moving on to our second project, which is the bunny gift box. Okay, let me show you the finished product of the bunny gift box. This is a great size box. You can use all different kinds of things here to put in it. I again used the same designer series paper here, but as we talked about before, you can use whatever you like. In your packet, in your project kit, you will find a packet labeled Bunny Gift Box. And in there will be the Highland Heather piece of cardstock to make the box already scored. And then you have two of these ovals, one scalloped, one plain. The scalloped one will go on the front, and then the plain one will go on top in the ribbon. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start from scratch to show you how I do my scoring. I'm going to bring in my scoring board, and remember, all this information is on the PDF that I sent you. You can download it and make a hard copy, or you can just look on the computer. But there is a section at the bottom that tells you exactly the sizes of the panels that you'll need to cut out and put on your box. So you can go ahead, grab your 6x12 pack of designer series paper and decide which of the patterns you like best. And then as well, if you would want to make another box yourself, I always will include the dimensions and the scoring measurements for the box. All right, so let's go ahead and start from scratch. I'm starting with a piece of Highland Heather cardstock, cut at 8.5 by 8. On the short side, which is the 8-inch side, I'm going to score at 1.5, 3, and 6.5. Okay, then I'm going to turn it on the long side, which is the 8.5 side, and that is going to be 2.5, 4, 6.5, 8. All right, so there's all our scoring done. Now this is what your paper or cardstock will look like straight out of the pack. All right, I'm going to grab my bone folder and crease on all these score lines. It will make the construction of the box much simpler if we have nice, strong creases in our cardstock. Kind of break down those paper fibers so that the box will come together a lot easier. All right, there is our paper all scored and creased. Now you'll notice again on the PDF, I include a picture of the template and what it will look like once you finish the cutting process. So let's go ahead and get started on the cutting. Okay, I like to start with this thin rectangle along the left-hand side. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut off all these rectangles except for the largest one right here. Okay, so I'm going to cut up the bottom here and cut that one off. Okay, then I'm going to turn here and cut these two smaller ones off up here. Okay, so we have one thin rectangle along the edge here, and that is really for the adhesive when we put our box together. All right, so let's go ahead. You have a set of two strips up here and one down here. Okay, we're going to start with the bottom. This is your bottom of your box. So we're just going to go ahead and cut up the vertical score lines to the first horizontal. Then the squares we know are going to be the tabs that we fold in. So we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of wedge out of each of those. The regular rectangular panels there are going to be the bottom of your box. All right, so there we go. Our bottom is all ready to be put together. Now we're going to turn around and work on the top of our box now. Again, we're going to cut down the vertical score lines, but instead, this time we're going to go through one of the horizontal score lines to the second one. And we're going to do that on all 3 of the vertical score lines. Okay, now for these small ones, we know that these are going to be the flaps that go inside the box. So we're going to cut those in half, which means you're going to cut the top rectangle off, and then you're going to just give them a bit of a wedge before that we tuck those into the box. Okay, same thing here. We're going to go ahead and cut the top square off, and then we're going to wedge these sides because they're going to fold into the box. And we don't want them to interfere with the flap. So there we have it so far. Now, one of these is going to be the lid that flaps down, and the other one is going to disappear. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn that flap down here and this flap down, and we're going to cut this one off. We're going to cut off this one that is closest to the thin rectangle side. Okay, that one is going to get cut off. All right, let me try and get that away. That's going to be the one that flaps down over the front of our box, so we want to cut that one off. Okay, so there we have it. That is the template we're going for. Now, you can always come in, and I've done this. I came in with my trio punch, and I rounded the corners of the flap that's coming down in the front of the box. That's this one right here. Okay, so I rounded those corners. Okay, so now we're ready to roll. So I'm going to grab my pieces of designer series paper. Remember, I didn't cut those for you in your pouch. You can go ahead and cut the color you like and look carefully at the PDF, and it will tell you exactly what the dimensions will be. All right, so I'm going to grab my Tombow now, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of Tombow on the back of these large panels first, and they go in these spaces right here. Such pretty paper. It's going to be such a nice spring box to gift to someone. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and put that one there. Okay, then we're going to grab these 2 here, and these are going to be for the sides of the box. So we're going to go ahead and add our Tombow. And those will go right in between. So you can kind of see how the box is coming together now and how pretty it's going to look once we're finished. Okay, these last 2 actually both go on the flap. So we're going to go ahead. We're not going to use one on the bottom. They're both going to be on the top flap. One goes here. Oh my. I think I cut it a bit too long. Yes. I need to cut those. Going to grab my cutter. I'm going to go back to my PDF and see what those should be. Let's see. This should be cut at 2 3/8. Did I do that? I didn't. I cut it at 2 5/8. Okay, so let's cut these at 2 3/8, just like it says on the PDF, and I didn't read very well. So these are 2 3/8. No, wait, 2 3/8. There we go. Okay, let's get back to business now. Okay, we'll go back here, and we'll go ahead and put that on there. That looks much better. Now, before we put this one on, if you have rounded the corners of your cardstock, you're going to want to round the top corners of your designer series paper as well. Love my little trio punch. It gives it such a nice finished look. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and add that to the top and final flap. So there you can see how the box is going to come together. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over so I see the inside. I'm going to fold the right-hand flap over. I'm going to add a little bit of Tombow to that nice thin rectangle that we have. Now remember, you can use the Seal Plus, you can use tear and tape, whatever you like. And then I'm going to fold the left side flap over, and it will end up exactly where it should. You're going to rub on it there, and then it will pop up and you'll have your box. Okay, we're going to turn him on his head, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to close the bottom. The first thing you're going to want to do is put a little bit of glue or Tombow or whatever you like on those flaps, and then you're going to put the back flap down first. You see, if I look at my box this way, this is the front, so your front bottom flap is the last one to go down. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow on the last flap, and that goes down there. I'm going to stand him up, and I'm going to grab my bone folder and push him down in there. All right, so now you've got your box all finished. All right, see how easy that was and how beautiful that looks? Now we're going to put together our embellishments for the front, as well as our little oval here that's going to hold the box closed. All right, now if you look at my sample, we used the second option, which includes the oval occasion stamp set. Now, if you did not get option 2, you can just use any of the sentiments you might have in your stash. But I'll show you how this works with the oval occasions. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of scrap basic white, and I'm going to stamp these cute little bunnies on here. Okay, then I'm going to grab my blends. If you picked option 3, you will have the blends that you need, but you may have some blends or coloring items at home that you can use just as well. And I'm going to go ahead and use the crumb cake to color in my bunnies, starting with light. And then maybe bringing in a little bit of dark to give them a little bit of depth. I think we'll just do that this way. There we go. These ears are a little darker. I like that. And then maybe a little bit down the side. Okay, there are your bunnies. And then I'm going to grab my Highland Heather blends. And we'll start with the light blend and color in the entire flower with the light. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with my dark and color in the center and a little bit down each petal, and then come back with my light and blend. So I'm going to color in my centers and then a little bit down each of those, kind of going along the the stamped image there. Then coming back with my light and just blending it out and down. So pretty. Purple is my Easter color for sure. There we go. Last but not least, I'm going to grab my dark old olive and color in these cute little leaves. And there you have it, how quickly you can put together that little embellishment for the front. I'm going to grab my double oval punch, and we're going to line it up and center the bunnies and punch. And there you have your little element for the front of the box. Let me show you a trick on how to put this on. Okay, we want to make sure that it helps to hold our lid closed. So the way we do that is you're going to grab your dimensionals, you're going to close your lid, and then you're going to put the dimensionals in the center of your box on the front so that the top of your dimensional is just below where the lid comes down. Okay, then you're going to go ahead and remove the backings on those, and you're going to bring in your little oval here, stitched, scalloped oval, and you're going to just lay it across here so that about half of it goes above where that flap comes down and half is below, and then that will hold the box closed. Real simple, but effective way to keep it closed. All right, we have one more things to stamp, and that is a little treat for you. And let me show you on my sample here. And I'm going to stamp that using the Memento ink, and then I'm just going to cut it out using the oval part of the double oval punch. So let me grab that one here quickly. All right, where are you? There you are. We'll take our bunny off and put this one on our block. Got a Memento ink ready to roll. I've got a strip here of the basic white. And the strips are a really good idea to use with this punch, because then you don't waste as much of your paper. Because if you had a full piece of the white, you'd also be punching out a scallop that you might not really need. So if you use the strip, then you're only going to cut out the one that you need there. That's a little trick I learned. Okay, so there is my little tag for the top of the box. All right, we're almost done here, gang. Let's go ahead and get our beautiful, gorgeous grape ribbon and a nice long slice for this. This we're going to go ahead and wrap around the box up to the top. This is like the hardest part to do. All right. And then I'm going to just fold it over under, like I'm getting ready to tie. And you want to make sure that your sides are all flat. Let's see, there we go. All right, now before I tie, okay, I'm going to put my little tag on. And the way I do that is I grab my tag and a punch. This is the 3/8 circle. You can use any kind of paper punch or any kind of punch you have to make that hole. Then I'm going to make sure that when I cut my ribbon off the roll, that I made it at a little bit of an angle so that I have kind of a little point there. And that point I can use to thread through my punched hole. There we go. Okay, so now we have it over under, and then we put our tag on. And now I'm going to go ahead and tie my bow. So that's usually the way I do it. I do the over under first and then put the tag on and then finish up the bow. But whatever works best for you, you do you. Okay, so there is my bow for the top of the box. Wow, that came out pretty darn good on the first try. How about it, gals? All right, so now all I need to do is take my scissors and I'm going to cut off my ribbon. I'm going to leave these a little long because they're so pretty. But there you have it. There is your little bunny treat box. Okay, that is project number 2. Now you're ready to move on to the gift box and cards.